Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to answer the question, can you oversteep your black tea? Now before we begin, if you haven't done so already, come visit me. Come visit Casey and I at the tea store. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't done so already. Post a comment if you like. Black tea is one of the 6 categories that come from Camellia sinensis. It's easily the most popular of the 6 categories of tea. We talk about it here at the History of Tea playlist, why that is. That's not necessarily the case in actually much of the majority of the world, especially in Asia. It is not black tea that is the most popular, but given the history of the British Empire's attempts to bring Camellia sinensis to their holdings, black tea is pretty popular. So when you think of black tea, you think of English blend, you think of orange pekoe, you think of Earl Grey and all these famous ones. And you also think of tea parties, high tea, and whatnot. So we know that you can oversteep your greens and your whites and your yellows. So let's break it down a little. So when you pluck Camellia sinensis, regardless if it's a green tea where they kill green it immediately and it's 0% oxidized, or whether it be a black tea, which is on the other side of the spectrum that's 100% oxidized, cellular breakdowns occur as soon as you pluck it, And as soon as you pluck it and then throw it in hot water, chemical reactions are going to occur. One of the chemical reactions that are going to occur when you put a tea leaf, whether it be white, yellow, oolong, whatever, black, into hot water, is that it's going to start releasing tannins. And with black tea, given that it's 100% oxidized, there are certain chemical reactions that are going to happen in black tea that won't happen in green tea, because green teas kill greens. So one of them is the release of theoflavonoids and theorubigens. Ruby means red in Latin. And so when you are steeping black tea, there's going to be a release of these aforementioned things, which make the liquor turn red. And that's why in China they call black tea red tea, because the liquor is red, so theorubigens. So that's what's going to happen. And so the longer you steep black tea, the more release of tannins. And tannins are a byproduct of the breakdown of these leaves, and it's a byproduct of the good thing about tea, which is antioxidants, catechins, polyphenols. So certain amount of tannins, similar to what you find in coffee and in wine, both of those things have tannins as well. Tannins is not necessarily a bad thing, but tannins can be a bad thing when it comes to taste. And so with green tea, because it's kill green and 0% oxidized, doesn't really have a lot of tannins. Tannins happen when you use a lot of 100% oxidized teas like black tea, or a very high roasted oolong, for example, like Iron Goddess of Mercy. You're going to have more tannins because they're more oxidized. And so, in short, can your black tea get bitter? Yes, it can. And I recommend that we do 5-minute infusions of blacks. And it's really important that you pull out the leaves. There's an old saying about grandpa infusions. So grandpa infusions, something that was more popular, let's say, in the 1970s and 80s when tea education was at its lowest, especially here in America, was that you would see people steep their tea bag, because back in the 70s we didn't really have a lot of loose tea. They would steep their tea bags for 10-15 minutes. You get, like, maybe if you had like a teapot, you would get like 2 or 3 bags, throw them in there, hot water, full boil, and just leave those bags in there 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So that's grandpa steeping. So that made it exceedingly bitter. But some people like that bitterness. As a whole, you need to take out your tea leaves at about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Now with green teas, to avoid astringency, over bitterness, we recommend much shorter. Even some green teas, we recommend like 90 seconds to 2 minutes. But a good standard that we do here is about 3 minutes for greens, whites, and even yellows, which have an extra step to remove bitterness. For blacks, I recommend 5 minutes. So in short, take out your tea leaves after 5 minutes. You're more than welcome to reinfuse them again. Again, you can reuse tea leaves, but after 5 minutes, I would tell you that's a good threshold. And anything past 5 minutes, you can get a really bitter Earl Grey, or an Indian chai, or a Darjeeling, or whatnot. Guys, post in the comments, have you had bitter black tea before? I'd love to hear from you. Where you're like, too bitter. Love to hear from you. Until next time, take care. God bless.